This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of Heart of Hope. Before we get stuck right into it, let me introduce you all to our guest star. This is Fleecie, pronouns they, she. Say hello.
Hi.
They will be showing up at some point in session.
Yes, that is how it works. I appear at some point. You don't know when.
They will be.
I shall.
Right, so, Iris, when last we left off, you had just come home to your apartment, and upon rounding the corner to your door, you once again saw the somewhat unwelcome sight of Brimstone leant up against your door frame, seemingly waiting for you. He has seen you, but is not doing anything as of yet. He is just kind of waiting for you to approach or address him. What do you do?
Too good to break in this time?
I made my point last time.
She does approach, arms folded.
Well, I thought I might as well inform you, since you delivered them, and quite within a decent time frame. Thank you for that. But, the votes have come in. There's no new Dredge yet. As is to be expected, considering.
They don't want to fuck it up again, I guess?
Ever since that entire fiasco with Mag, I doubt that anyone has got any prospective candidates. At least none that they are actually happy with.
Right.
Nonetheless, I expect you to go collect those at some point. Not as urgent, but we will need them back. Don't want to leave them in the hands of the collectors for too long, especially. Tech like that'll get flogged. Toot sweet.
Yeah, I'll get them back.
Before I go, is there anything that you need? I hear that you recently made a bit of a mess in the neutral zone.
I was more cleaning up the mess. He can probably tell that her thoughts are a bit elsewhere at the moment. Her usual razor focus seeming not as present. It's not anything you need to worry about, but I was thinking of getting in contact with Nixe.
Ah. Nixe Stargazer.
Right, that is her last name.
A rarity in this city.
Yeah, well, again, it's nothing important, just a curiosity, but other than that, any reason you're here?
To be honest, I was curious about your encounter. It's not every day that I see you willingly wade into a situation like that if it isn't part of a job. And as far as I understand it, I don't recall there being any bounties that needed to be taken care of in that area. I tend to be the first to hear about them, after all.
She shrugs. They were in my way, and, I mean, I ended up accepting payment, even if it wasn't part of a job anyway, so wasn't just me being a goody two-shoes or anything.
He's gonna make a roll to see if he can tell that you're purposely not telling him something. Oh boy. He, being an experienced Dredge, he narrows his eyes at you and goes,
Well, I know you're not telling me the whole story. I'm not gonna force it out of you if you feel that you want to keep it secret.
I mean, there's really nothing to tell. There was a guy with these, dogs, for lack of a better word. These chipped slaves, essentially, going after some hapless guy. I mean...
I'm gonna be completely real with you, Vax. I don't give two shits about the people that you were fighting there. I care about why you decided to wander through that area. That being said, clearly you don't care to talk about it. So, I'll leave you to find Nixe. Speaking of which...
He pulls out a little notepad and a pen, writes down a number on it, and goes,
Since I'm feeling nice, this is the number that Nixe tends to pay more attention to, rather than her normal one.
She just takes it out of his hand.
Could you please roll to draw? How'd you get him this time?
I think in this case, she just very simply and neutrally just draws it, like, before his hand even fully gets around the holster, just because she can tell he's, like, in a pissy mood and, like, is wanting to get one over on her, so she could just tell what he was about to do.
You've got the gun out before he's got his hand around the holster, and he once again just goes,
I'm gonna pull ahead of you soon enough.
Good luck.
He just sniffs and trudges off, his heavy footsteps once again echoing throughout the concrete hallways. Make me a roll real quick. You get the feeling... So, Brimstone has always been a bit nosy about other people's business, especially other Dredge. That's not new to you. What's new is that he was so intent on knowing this particular thing. Like, the whole issue of, like, why were you in a combat zone? Like, something about that level of annoyed and frustrated interest, something about that doesn't sit right with you, and you think that there might be something going on with him which might be a little more sinister than normal.
Vex isn't even totally sure why she's not wanting to tell him right away, maybe just because of how frivolous this likely seems from an outsider perspective. Maybe because Catboy sus, but she just kind of bitterly thinks to herself, I mean, if he's so nosy about the other dredges, then he can go talk to him about it. And just kind of sighs and walks into her apartment.
Yeah. You do so, and I imagine you fairly promptly give Nixe a call.
Yep, within a few minutes, she'd dial the number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you give Nixe a call, and in summary, basically you kind of like explain the situation of what you're looking for, and ask if Nixe could help with it, and you get the fairly reticent and cheeky answer of, "Oh, I know about some trees that exist outside of the city," implying that they have in fact seen them or have some info for you, and refuses to elaborate any further, instead insisting on setting up a meeting location tomorrow.
She kind of inwardly sighs and's like, yeah, it's always tomorrow, but would agree to whatever terms they set.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to do with the remaining time that you have before meeting them?
I think Vex probably restlessly stomps around her apartment for a bit, trying to, like, think about what she should be doing and running through a million potential scenarios in her head, but eventually I think she probably just relents and collapses on her couch.
Mm-hmm. You do so. And that night, you are kind of almost semi-hoping for another one of those dreams. But frustratingly, it doesn't come. You just kind of suddenly awake at, the next morning and realize you need to get going. Nixe.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell me where you organized to meet Vex?
That is a good question, because my first thought would be a small side street in a busy area where a lot of different people come and go. But it's easy to find a side street where you can get lost in even more side streets, if that's possible.
Basically the back alley of back alleys.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the back rooms.
Yeah. Glitch into the back rooms and you'll find me. So, I'll ask as well, is Nixe the type to ask to meet in a particular gang's territory, or would you just kind of go for the standard neutral zone in the center of the city?
I would say neutral zone, because why not?
Right, well, with the neutral zone being a smaller part of the city, it does not take long by any means, maybe 10, 20 minutes to walk there, just primarily only by virtue of the fact that this city is such a dense hive of buildings and catwalks that it really just comes down to, yup, this place is dense as fuck, and it's especially so in the neutral zone because everyone wants to be here. So yeah, no, you eventually kind of end up in a back alley, which quite intriguingly, rather than being on ground level, there's certain parts of the city that sort of end up almost creating an entirely solid terrace where, just by virtue of the amount of bridges and catwalks that have been built, and then developed, and maybe even new ramshackle huts and buildings a bit built on top of them, there's almost sometimes these shelves that happen where you almost end up with entirely new street networks existing above the ground that consists entirely of interconnected buildings and apartments. These are probably some of the most convoluted areas of the city, and it immediately becomes evident to you why Nixe has asked to meet you in one of these places, because not only is there, God, 1,000,001 faces passing by every day, but it's hard to even remember where you came from in these spots. But nonetheless, you come to the location. You've been given a particular signpost, which was essentially like a neon advertisement for a tattoo parlor. And you're just kind of underneath this flickering neon light. I guess it's up to Nixe when they show themselves.
I think that after maybe just... I think she would, from the like general crowd, just kind of survey and wait for someone fitting Vex's general description. Maybe just waiting for a couple of minutes to like see if she's waiting for someone else. Just, you know, the regular, make sure, getting like a little look around to make sure that no one seems to be paying extra attention to them. And then just casually approaching her.
Yeah, the only real thing that Vex knows about your appearance is that you're aquatic in look. So why don't you give us a description of Nixe as Vex sees her?
Approaching her, Vex sees a person dressed in very unassuming normal clothes, but on the parts where she can see some, well, body, there is shimmers of blue, what looks like metal parts. Some might be skin. You're not sure exactly where one begins and one ends. But yeah, she just, like, she has tried to hide a lot of stuff under her clothes, I think, to not show too much of her aquatic appearance, because among some groups, she is very well known. But still doesn't try to like dress up like a completely hooded figure either, because that would also stand out. Just walks with the casual demeanor of a normal citizen trying to make their way through the city, and just walks up to Vex and asks her, "So are you the one trying to start a garden?"
Meanwhile, by contrast, Vex is not trying to blend into the crowd. She probably is leaning up against the side of one of the alleyways that forms this area, at like literally the picture of someone who is waiting for a shady drug deal of some description, and kind of looks up at her for a moment before just nodding a couple of times. Nixe, I assume.
That would be me. She just gives a little smile. Shall we go somewhere else and talk more comfortably, perhaps?
Yep, wherever works.
Oh, do you want to choose a place, or shall I?
I figured you had a plan.
She just nods and then just kind of turns in the direction that the GM is about to describe and webs Vex to follow along.
So I assume you're going straight to... Are you going to like an establishment, or are you just going underground straight away?
Oh, do you think Nixe would go to an establishment?
Listen, I have to ask.
Nixe is like, let's step somewhere more comfortable, and just like takes one step into an open manhole and falls in.
Yeah.
Just goes into an alleyway and just lifts a manhole cover. It's like, come here, down here.
I think you, because like this is a weird area of the city, right? There isn't your typical sewers as much as there is like chutes and stuff which kind of, you know, redirect into the right places. You find like an old like basically burnables chute which normally has like cardboard and stuff in it, and you just like full body hop into it and just slide down. You hear the like commotion and scraping of metal as Nixe just fucking drops down to the regular street level, and you assume that you can follow along safely. Do you hesitate at all, or are you just like, well, this might as well happen?
I feel like Vex hesitates for only a moment. I mean, she isn't quite as at home here as Nixe is, certainly, but you know, she's done it all herself, so she just follows.
you slide down and you kind of use your limbs to kind of slow your descent on a few places before you eventually, like a slide, end up like a weird water slide, end up crashing into a bunch of old rotten cardboard boxes and wood and such, and you spot Nixe just kind of with her head already peeking out of a manhole, beckoning you to join her in the sewers.
Much more stiffly and stoically, Vex sidles her way down, lands next to Nixe.
The mental image of stoically going down into a manhole, I'm trying to vision it in my head.
I mean, yep. And she stands there and is basically just says, so what's the plan? Where is it you want to head?
Well, I was thinking that we could walk and talk and get to know each other a little better.
Vex blinks. We can walk and talk, but I gave you the list of locations. I just want to know which one you think is the most likely so that we can make a plan and get this done as fast as possible.
Alright, fine. Be that way. By the way, how's your leg?
She narrows her eyes.
I mean, it's quite a scuffle, or so I've heard at least.
I'm fine.
Alright, you tell me if the water's down here is making it feel a little weird. Or if you're claustrophobic, then that, my cousin probably should have asked that first.
I'm not claustrophobic. What do you mean feel a little weird?
Oh, don't worry.
She, looks at the water.
Oh, some people... There are some people who would claim that the sewers are... And she, does, quotation marks with her fingers. Gross.
Yeah, but... I'm not a 5-year-old. I can handle it.
Fantastic. I hate children. Let's go. And she just starts... and she just... I think she just starts walking in a direction that would lead to one of the locations where the trees would be, without even asking or telling her anything.
Yeah, Nixe, you start walking west, knowing that is probably your prime candidate. I don't know how good Vex's sense of direction is, so you can feel free to give me just a roll, and if you feel any of your parts would help you, by all means, let me know.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, she'll follow Nixe, and I'll make a roll. That's better than I was hoping it'd be, because I don't think Vex, she might keep her sense of direction for a bit, but
yeah. You, at the very least, clock that you are heading mostly due west. If that is an indication of where you will be needing to go, then that rules out 2 locations. But yeah, no, I mean, only way to know is to ask.
What did Ephori tell her about the western location? Which I think it's this down here?
Yes, so there's 2 western locations. There is...
Right, there's also the phone area, yeah.
Yes, so there is the singular building, which you know already has a rarity of a resource, which is a phone that connects to the outside world. The southwestern location is an old developing neighborhood that ended up getting scrapped when Hope's Rise became Hope's Fall, and is now essentially a gang proving ground where they go and purposefully fight basically cybernetic military from the outside world. The outside world as such has been trying to establish that area as an outpost as such to keep an eye on the city, but obviously have been meeting regular resistance.
As they walk, Vex would stay silent for the majority of the time.
I think at one point, at least, Nixe kind of does that thing where she, like, turns around and walks backwards so that she can face Vex. So, why exactly do you want to go here?
It's nothing important, just a curiosity.
I don't believe you.
You can believe whatever you want.
I don't know if that is a better or worse reason to go there than...
I'll tell you this, there's definitely not a good reason for this, which is why I want to get it done, because not only... Look, I know you like to have fun, she says, like, holding up her hands in, like, a jazz hands motion, but...
She grins.
Not only am I paying you good money to do this, but I'm giving up on what time I could be using for actual important jobs. I mean, I'll freely admit, this is kind of a frivolous venture, and it's dangerous, which is why I just want to get in, get it done, and get out as soon as we can.
Interesting. Well...
It's not interesting.
Oh, I think it's very interesting, Vex. I think it's very interesting. Oh, another question. Since it seems that you might not be terribly interested in telling Brimstone everything, how much am I supposed to close my mouth about this?
She thinks for a moment. I mean, if he asks you about it, or he finds out about it, I mean, there's nothing to keep secret. We're just going to look for a tree. But at the same time, I guess I'd appreciate you not going around and bragging about it to everybody you hear, since I figure discretion is kind of in your wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, I'm no snitch. Trust me, anything that I can use to even just so slightly mildly annoy Brimstone without having him see for all of the sewers in the city, I would love to inflict that on him.
I haven't talked to every other Dredge here in the city, but it seems like the common thread is that Brimstone is eminently annoyable.
I know, it's great. I love pissing him off.
Yeah, problem with pissing him off is he gets pissy.
That is true. That is true. He really gets pissy about things that he doesn't like or doesn't go his way, doesn't he?
Yeah. And, as much as I hate to admit it, I mean, he's good at what he does. I mean, he must be if he can, corral a bunch of psychopaths and turn it into an organization in this city.
Yeah. You have no idea how funny you just were, Vex. Oh, I like you.
Why does everybody keep saying that? She, like, rubs her temples.
You continue making your way, and, yeah, Nixe is seemingly with quite a lot of purpose leading you in a direction which she seems pretty confident about, and yet has not made an effort to answer you on which location you are exactly heading to. It has eventually been enough time that you have definitely lost track of how many turns you've taken, which direction you're heading in. It's up to you whether you would trust Nixe to just keep leading you, or if you want to ask more questions.
I'll be completely real. Vex kind of has accepted how dumb this is and is kind of running scenarios through in her head over and over. But Nixe could be leading her into a friggin' death pit, and she would keep following. Like, she's not questioning this at all. Nixe, the thought is very present in her head, like, if Nixe, suddenly ran off and left me down here, I would be genuinely fucked. Like, I don't know where I am.
Yeah, you continue walking, and there's occasional moments where you have to dip down into the water itself, unfortunately, by virtue of the catwalks or raised areas being untraversable. And there's plenty of sections which appear initially to be locked gates before Nixe just quite casually does something to open them, very clearly at home and aware of the convoluted maps of the sewers underneath this city. And Nixe, you find yourself at the border of the west of the city. You know very well how the layout of the sewers maps to the world above, and I'll ping you on the map. Why not? Since we do have that, you end up here, but underground. And
oh god, are we really going there? Oh Christ!
And yeah, and I imagine even just somewhat instinctually you stop, because not because you wouldn't be too confident going this way. You are good enough at escaping on your own that this doesn't pose a threat to you, but you do have somebody in tow, and somebody who should be warned of these things considering where you're about to go. You know for a fact that the sewers will take you a little further out west, but there is no guarantee that these sewers are unoccupied.
It's at this point I feel like I should mention that, one, the route that we are taking will not take us the entire way there underground. You will have to take a bit of a jog above ground, and there's a solid chance that even on our way to that exit to above ground again, there is a slight chance that we might get some company down here.
Well, I knew this wasn't going to be easy, she says, as she just kind of, seems to wave her arms a bit, like she's loosening her muscles.
That's the right attitude to deal with what we're about to do. She, stretches a little bit, also.
Do you want me to take point, or can you handle yourself?
I am a flyer, not a fighter.
She just walks in front of Nixe and starts taking the lead.
So reliable.
Hey gang, welcome to the break. I hope you've been enjoying our very first episode with a guest star. We have a couple of guest stars coming up in future as well. It's been a fun little way to spice things up with new dynamics and relationships and stuff. So I hope you've been enjoying it. Nixe is a very specific energy that I enjoy a lot, and I hope you are too. But let's get straight into the shilling, why don't we? So, if you've been enjoying Heart of Hope and you want to support the show and just generally support me in general, you can do so over on patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that's eternal_savvy. you can get hold of the next episode of Heart of Hope right now if you support for as little as $1 a month. You can support for even more than that if you just want to be cool and just send me an extra little bit of money every month. But even the smallest amount of $1 will get you full access to the .wav and the MP3 of the next episode. You can also support me over on Ko-Fi, which is at the same name, and you can also follow me over on Twitch and YouTube at the same name of Eternal_Savvy. I do art streams and video game streams, and of course tabletop every now and then as well. And you can also find me over on Blue Sky, at the same name as well, Eternal_Savvy, shockingly enough. And if you make any fan art of Heart of Hope, because you're super cool like that, then you should feel free to @ my account and also use the hashtag Heart of Hope over there. Also, if you're listening to this on YouTube, it is a massive, massive help to comment, like, and subscribe to help get this out into the algorithm a little bit more. And if you're listening to this on one of the RSS feeds, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then go ahead and rate it or give it whatever thumbs up you can on that particular app. Ratings are a massive help as well. But yeah, that is pretty much everything as normal. No prompted characters or anything this episode. So let's get back to the episode. See you around. Right. You continue making your way, and you go at least underground out into no man's land. This area of the, well, I shouldn't really say the city, because it is the definitive unclaimed outer ring, where the outside world, tyrannical and totalitarian in its ways, has elected that Hope's Rise is not worth bombing or reclaiming or putting the resources into just getting rid of the city, and has instead basically adopted the policy that so long as they keep to themselves, they can do whatever the fuck they want. And Hope's Rise, or as a result, has taken quite kindly to that, but it has meant that the hive-like nature of the city has developed as a result of the tightly controlled border of this city, where anytime somebody tries to strike out and maybe expand or create a new settlement of any kind, with few exceptions, strike teams have shown up and, well, frankly, wiped them off of the map. It's only by virtue of you being underground that you are able to be out here without any kind of immediate notice, and you are both on high alert. Could both of you please make me a roll with a d10? And Fleecie, could you please roll a d10 plus 2, because you are familiar with these sewers?
Roll 1 d10 plus 2. Please let me roll okay.
You both continue on, and Nixe, you're kind of caught up in a lot of questions you have in your own head, and find yourself, you likely are a little bit complacent just because you have the unexpected privilege of actually having somebody else with you for once. Normally it's your own eyes and ears, and you just find yourself kind of subconsciously relaxing a little too much. Vex, you are on high alert, and you hear the distinct echo from somewhere ahead of you of movement that cannot be attributed to rats and vermin.
She stops and basically just looks meaningfully back at Nixe before starting to just drop to a crouch and move as quietly and carefully as she possibly can, looking, peering through the darkness to see if she can make out any additional details.
Could you both please give me a stealth roll, once again, just a d10, but add a... I'm going to say a +1, because you have been alerted to this ahead of time. And again, if you think that you have any kind of... Well, actually, Nixe, give yourself a +3, because this is your home turf, basically. And yeah, no, if you feel any parts would help you in this, describe how, and that may provide a bonus.
Gosh, I want to say that considering my tendency to move, that maybe just some sort of light-footedness that maybe could help.
I think the +3, let's just stick with the +3 if you don't have a direct part. But yeah. So, Iris, you got a...
pretty good. I got a 6.
Yeah, +3 is pretty huge. So, yeah, there you go. That changed a failure into a significant success. So, yeah. The two of you immediately alter your movements and quietly lift your feet out of the water. And just slowly, making as little turbulence as possible, start sticking to a wall, and you see that there is an alcove which likely leads to another branch of the sewers just ahead of you. And fortunately, you, with the extra warning ahead of time, Vex especially, you recognize that if you had not heard this ahead of time, you would not have had the gap between then and now to get into this alcove. You slip in, and sure enough, you start to see the distinct flashing of flashlights being, moved as if to help, direct where somebody is moving in the darkness. And you hear the sounds of multiple pairs of feet quite brazenly trudging through the waters. It's at this point that you do manage to make out some of the voices. They are seemingly masculine in tone, and you can hear that there is that notable buzz to them, which very clearly indicates that they are wearing some kind of mask, somewhat akin to brimstone, very military. And you hear,
I don't get it, man. Why do we have to patrol these fucking sewers? There's never anyone down here.
There's someone down here sometimes, Jericho, and the reason that there's never anyone down here is because we patrol it. How many times do I have to go over this?
All I'm saying is that we could be in the chopper right now.
I know we could be in the chopper right now, but someone failed their heavy gunner's licensing test because you decided to shoot 9 in the ass!
It was pretty funny though, right?
It wasn't fucking funny. It cost all 3 of us our spots on the air patrol. Now we're trudging around this stinking shit tube like idiots while everyone else gets to laugh it up in the skies. Not to mention 9 is in the...
And this just continues on as they are continuing to kind of make their way to you. What do you do? Because you do acknowledge that they are coming this way, and you may need to find another way past, because if they continue like this, if they make a wrong turn, or if they decide to turn down this alleyway, they will spot you. You can see that at the end of this alcove, there is more sewer ahead of you, but it's blocked off by an ungated set of bars. There is a significant amount of the bars underwater, though. What would you like to do, either of you?
Nixe looks at Vex to see what what she wants to do.
Vex looks at Nixe because Vex seems hesitant to charge what will very likely be a set of heavily armed guards. So she looks like she's wanting a way around if possible.
Okay, so would Nixe know this area well enough? Would she have been able to maneuver past these guards before, would you say?
Make me a roll again with a +2, because you have had prior experience in these sewers.
Ooh.
Very nice. Yeah, you know... well, the thing is, last time you were here, you were able to avoid them by getting into an alleyway and then basically just submerging yourself in the central waterway. They didn't direct their flashlights down there, and like that worked because they passed you by. But one thing you did note is that because a lot of the sewers here are poorly maintained, because, you know, it's out in no man's land, the bars, especially underwater, they're not like gone, but they're corroded enough and just generally in poor enough condition that you might be able to get lucky and, like, force one of them to be unseated, and then you could, like, slip through the now larger gap between them. The alternative is both of you submerging yourself, but that is counting on the fact that they won't turn down this particular alleyway.
Well, I mean, sound has a tendency to be a little bit muffled by water, so if we were to break the bars under the water, that could work.
I'm more than down to try that, yeah.
She just turns quickly to Vex. Are you strong? Well, I already know, but, you know, rhetorical question, of course, but...
she's like, shh, but then nods.
And she just, like, points to where the bars would be, like, underwater, points down, and then just...
Right. She takes a look for a moment, kind of casts a glance back at the guards before, turning back to the bars, wincing a bit, but then, taking a deep breath and, dunking herself under and, taking a look at what's going on.
You take a look underneath the water, and sure enough, the bars are corroded and rusted, and in a condition that you have watched your wrist blades cleave through less rusted metal than this in the collectors.
Yeah, she doesn't want to... I mean, both because of the water and the noise, she doesn't want to go quite that extreme. However, she will test the strength of the metal by basically grabbing two of the bars in her hands and trying to just wrench it back and forth a bit, seeing if she can pry any of them loose.
Give me a roll with a +1, because they are weak to begin with. I don't believe you have super strength or anything like that, do you?
No. Just general cool guy strength.
The +1 will be what you are rolling with then,
well,
in that case.
Here goes nothing, Fleecie.
You can do it.
Oh,
hey!
Just barely.
Just barely. You, probably for the sake of not opening the wound in your arm again from flicking out the blades, decide against that in the sewers. And you are hopeful that you can just bend and jimmy this back and forth enough that you can just force it out. And thank whatever gods are above, you do manage it. You basically go in every which way of a direction with the bar with your hands around it and find the one direction where you hear that telltale, like, grinding of metal kind of turning to dust. And there is now barely enough room for both of you to slip through, although it will be one at a time.
She comes back up for a breath of air and hurriedly motions to Nixe to go through.
She just swims on through.
You do so, and Vex, since you are the second through, could you please make me a stealth check as you slip, because they are now pretty damn close.
Oh, I can just sense it. This is where it goes wrong. This is the moment.
Okay. Is there any way I can aid, maybe? Because I
I mean, you do have parts which let you just support.
do.
You could try to, like, pull me through extra quickly, I suppose.
Mermaid style.
Alright, so, yeah, you can actually do that retroactively, so we'll see Iris's roll, and if you need to, you can try and support it.
Yeah. Come on.
Alright, so regular D10, right?
Regular D10. You are so... Alright, well, fortunately, a support 1
It's
is...
literally, yup. I literally need that exact thing we just said to make it make sense.
Do I have to roll anything or do I just help her?
No, it just happens. That's the good thing about the support stuff, is you literally just do it. So, yeah, you literally grab Vex and pull her through as you see that she's taking a bit long.
What happens is that Vex is like, you know, she isn't nearly so used to maneuvering underwater and such, so like while she is getting through there, it's definitely taking her a second and the voices are getting louder, and Nixe is finally just like, you know, well, if she gets tetanus, it's, you know, who cares? It just pulls her through this like jagged opening.
Yeah, you are as quietly as possible pulled through. You for both of you for a brief moment are like, oh fuck, they might see the turbulence if they're paying attention to the ripples, right? But you end up pulling Vex through, and you only manage to make it down this part of the sewer a scarce few steps before you both recognize instinctually, if you keep moving, they are going to hear you as they pass by, and you both just plaster yourselves against the curving opposing walls to each other, hoping that none of them pays any particular, like, attention to this, like, pathway. And thank, again, whatever higher power there is, you hear them continuing to move, the very brazen and confident strides, masking any of the turbulence in the water that you might have caused. And neither of the two that you now see passing, neither of the two of them point their flashlights in this direction. And you hear very clearly more of their conversation. Just,
when Nine's out of the infirmary, why not?
Shut the fuck up. We shouldn't even be talking about it.
Is that an order?
It is if it gets you to quit asking me. Oh yeah, and we're deployed for another 4 months thanks to you, jackass. We wouldn't be able to go even if we want to.
I didn't hear a no.
Okay, now it's an order. Shut the fuck up.
and you hear them going off into the distance, continuing to argue about whatever bullshit they have going on.
I think Nixe just looks at Vex to see if she's still alive or has drowned.
She's alive. She has also plastered herself against the wall, and to her credit was taking care not to take deep or shallow breaths while they were so close. But once she hears the sounds of them drift off, lets out a low sigh and looks over at Nixe with just look of neutral resignation, and just kind of like says, "Thanks for the save."
She just smiles.
Let's move on.
Yeah, having successfully circumvented an encounter which you suspect probably would have been bad news. They were carrying some really nasty-looking assault rifles. The kind of assault rifles that people in Hope's Rise pay good money to get hold of. And you can't help but feel yourself both relieved that you did not have to be on the receiving end of those. You continue down, and once again some time passes before you eventually see coming up ahead of you a ruined and collapsed sewer, and Nixe deftly redirects the two of you to the right a couple of meters before hitting that dead end, and you see that there is the surprisingly decently kept ladder, which you can only assume is as such because there are regular patrols that come down here. You do in fact see the signs of recent use as some of the slime and muck which normally builds up on these kinds of ladders is clearly disturbed from these two heavily geared individuals coming down here. You know that above you is no man's land, and that is no guarantee that you will remain any level of safe.
Any questions?
No. Let's just get this done.
Alright then.
Nix, you note that sounded like Vex was semi-expecting you to come with her. Are you going to? Are you curious enough to come with her?
Well, it's... okay, just a quick question, Sav.
Yes.
I have been to this place before, hence why I know the road here, right?
Mm-hmm, but you have never been to the building. You've only ever peeked your head out.
Oh, she is curious, but... Nix might die. I'm not used to this. I
might die, Fleecie. I might die.
I think in the short time that Nix has gotten to know Vex, she's grown strangely fond of her. And compared to previous little trips here, she feels that perhaps this one could be interesting.
Right. So yeah, Vex, do you take the lead?
Yeah, she's kind of standing there in front of the ladder, her fists clenching and unclenching a few times before she just... Like, it's funny how you can kind of see emoted in her posturing the moment where, you know, she's telling herself, well, there's nothing else for it, we just have to do it. And she grabs the ladder and starts climbing up.
You climb up the ladder and reach its pinnacle and feel your fingers touch upon the surprisingly warm metal as you hike it up just barely enough to lift it aside and slide it across as the sudden bloom of midday sun beams down into this sewer, revealing all of the grime which you were so easily ignoring before, and making it so that you are blinded for a moment as both of your eyes adjust. You can't help but squint, and you feel the sand just slowly and just very slightly blow into the manhole into the manhole that you are opening. You peer your head up and you see the scorched, bleached sand of the desert outside and the telltale smell of old ashes, gunpowder, the signs of so many explosions and pieces of gunfire that have ravaged this no man's land before. And Vex, you see out to the west is the building that you've heard so much about. Not only is this the place where the landline phone that connects to the outside world apparently is seated, but also now, seemingly, staring in front of you, is the location of this tree which you have been looking for. You don't see it, at least not from the angle that you're at, but it's there. It's close.